This Bigfoot sighting comes out of Cass County, Texas, from August the 10th of 2004. The witness states that he was driving on Highway 59 going into Atlanta, Texas. He is a truck driver and he drives this route at least twice a week. It's a midnight run, he says, so it was late, 1:30, maybe around 1:50 when the sighting happened, and that he was the only one on the road that he could see. He says that he came to an S curve and that this curve went to the right and then swerved back to the left. He says he made the first curve, and when he was coming out of the second curve is when he saw a creature, or as he put it, a huge beast just stepping over a 6-strand barbed wire fence. Now this is when he says he slammed on his brakes, that he was stunned and scared to death of what he was seeing. He says that this was no man and that he was sure it wasn't a damn bear either, saying that this creature had to be at least 8 to 8.5 feet tall and that this thing weighed at least 500 pounds. The witness says that he weighs 230 pounds and that this creature was at the very least double his size, saying that the creature's hair was a very dark brown and that it wasn't as long as he thought it would have been, that the hair was maybe 6 to 8 inches long. Now he said that the hair on this creature's chest and abdomen wasn't as thick as the rest of the creature. He says that he could see its eyes, nose, and mouth, and that there wasn't much hair there either. As he said before, when he first seen this creature, it was stepping over a 4-foot fence, and from what he could tell, it was easy for this thing. He says that the creature saw him, but didn't run away. It just turned its head and started walking down the fence line. He watched it for about a minute, and he says he knows he should have watched it longer, but that he was freaking out and scared, so he just drove on into Atlanta. The general area is indeed one that fits within what is thought to be a typical southern Sasquatch habitat, with creeks, marshes, and thick woods that surround the location of the sighting. So what do you think the witness saw that night? Drop me a comment down below and let me know. This sighting comes out of Williamson County, Texas, from June the 23rd of 2017. The witness states that he knows that there will be many people out there that won't believe him. He says he knows this because he is still trying to come to terms with it himself. He says that he didn't plan on posting anything online about what he had seen, that he was trying to pretend that it was just a dream, but that the next day the nightmare continued to haunt him. He says that he just couldn't get it out of his head what he had seen and heard the night before. So he decided to make and write this report while it was fresh on his mind, hoping that this will get the images off his mind. The witness said that he just wanted to come out and say it. Last night, on Friday, June the 23rd of 2017, he saw a very large and tall thing in their backyard, and that it would seem to have been the being otherwise known as, dare he say it, Bigfoot. He says it sure sounds crazy, but that it's true. He also said he considers himself to be someone who will debunk extraordinary claims by other people when it comes to UFO sightings, like the Loch Ness Monster and yes, even Bigfoot sightings. That he just never believed in this crazy stuff. The witness states that he was listening to a song when he heard an unusual howling. It was a strange type sound, saying he first thought that something was wrong with his speakers, but that the weird sounds continued even after he turned them off. It almost sounded like a hoot, though much deeper. When he noticed that their three dogs had made their way to the back door and was pacing nervously back and forth. Then they started howling back. It was very unusual in that he had never seen them do this before. He states that he thought it must have been another dog or one of the wild coyotes that had been seen in the area. At this point, he didn't want his dogs to get out and maybe get rabies or even eaten. So he picked up a broom to chase whatever it was away. Now he said that this is where everything started happening rapidly. As the dogs went for the door, he tried to shut it back, but one of his little dogs squeezed through. That the dog was moving at breakneck speed towards the creek in the backyard. That's when he noticed a large creature down in the creek area. It seemed to be looking in their direction, and he said it had glowing greenish yellow eyes. Then the creature quickly turned and ran to the south along the creek until it disappeared. He says that he was stunned by what he had seen, thinking that he just had some kind of little nuisance creature that he could run off with a broom, to this large imposing creature that he saw. For the few seconds that he saw the creature, he says that it was very tall with hair all over most of its body. It was also bipedal and very fast for a creature that size. His wife had heard the noise coming from the dogs. She opened the back door just to see him holding their smallest dog next to the fence. When she asked him what was he looking at, he said he didn't know how to respond to her. While they both were standing there, they heard another very loud howling hoot. He says it's a big deal for him to share this encounter here, knowing most people will not believe him. He knows because he was one of those people that he would not have believed it if he hadn't seen it for himself. But the weirdest thing was how the dogs were acting. Kind of acting like they had just seen an old friend or something, with the howls and their tails wagging like they were. He says again that he had never seen them do that before that night. So what do you think this man saw that night? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. This sighting report comes out of Jack County, Texas, from July the 18th of 2016. The witness states that he thinks that he saw a Bigfoot type creature near the Montgomery Game Ranch in Jack County. The witness and a few of his friends had got together to go dirt roading driving through several very wild and remote parts of the county. He says that they stopped to listen and look for the area's wildlife. This is when he said that he put his Generation 1 night vision binoculars on the edge of the tree line. Now this is when he says that he saw a large, black, and roundish shape. He thought it was a cow at first. Now as he started to focus in on the animal, he says that the creature stood up slowly onto two legs. This creature appeared to be very tall, and that it turned and took 3 to 4 very long strides to get behind a large tree. The strides were long but smooth and slow. It wasn't rushing to get out of sight, he says, but moving more slowly as to not be detected by anyone, and that this creature gave no sudden movement at all. It looked to be a huge man-like figure. Now he says that he tried to zoom in at this point, but that all he could see was a huge black shape behind a tree. He says that he wasn't able to record it and that none of his friends seen the creature. With its size and movements of this thing, it had to be more coordinated and smoother than a wild cat, he says. After growing up on a cattle ranch and spending many years as a park ranger, that he knows the local wildlife very well, but that this creature was nothing he had ever seen before. But he has heard stories of Sasquatch and Bigfoot type creatures, and that he has to put this sighting of something into that pile, that he thinks he saw a Sasquatch. So what do you think this man saw that night? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. This sighting happened in Morgan County, Alabama, in August of 2012. The witness states that he was kayaking down a creek and that it was in the middle of the day. He said that this creek was deep in places and shallow in others, making for a good kayaking trip. He also said that he was used to seeing deer and turkey on his trips kayaking down this creek. Now he says when he came around a curve in the stream that he heard a splash in front of him. Thinking it was a fish jumping, he didn't pay it much attention. But then there were three more splashes, and he saw the last splash was made by a rock. When he looked into the direction of where the rock had came from, that's when he saw the creature. It was sitting on its knees like a human would. Now he says that the creature stood up. He says that when it stood up, that the hair on the back of his neck also stood up. They made eye contact for about 30 seconds, then it turned and ran into the woods. He said that he could hear it running through the woods, and that he has heard people and other things running through the woods before, but that it was different than anything he had heard before. That this creature didn't bother dodging brush and stuff that was in its way, that it just went right through it. He says that the creature appeared to be 7 foot tall and weigh about 400 pounds. It had wide shoulders, about 3, maybe 3.5 feet wide, while the hair on the creature was a mix of black and gray, with the hair being 4 to 5 inches long, while being matted with mud and other things. He said that it also had an odor of fish and mildew, with the head being conical in shape. Its nose was almost flat to its face. It appeared to be stocky with little or no neck. The witness says after seeing this, he headed back to his truck, and that later that night he went to where he had seen this creature. That he did some howls and knocks, and only getting knocks back. They were from a good distance off, but he did get knocks back. So what do you think the witness saw that day? Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. That's it for this video. So till next time, stay safe and have a great week. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can keep up with all of our latest videos. And thanks for watching those endless mysteries.